This is M.
And this is Ken.
And this is just your typical
Boy meets girl.
boy and girl become BFFs.
Straight up BFFs. For life.
Girl asked boy to make some top 5 lists.
Boy decides to film it.
And an internet sensation was born.
Dozens will be entertained.
This is our podcast.
Top 5 Battle Royale
with cheese.
with cheese.
And welcome to M.
Hey, Ken's.
Top 5 Battle Royales.
With cheese.
With
Obviously,
cheese.
episode...
This is episode 2.
Two.
This is episode 2. And if you're wondering, did they wear those outfits in episode 1? The answer is yes, we did. Because, well, I don't like to change. And this just happened to be the day that M always wears this shirt on this day of the week.
Yeah,
So,
that's what it is. It's
we most
recording
certainly
day.
did not record these back to back.
No, who would do that? That's
Not
terrible.
at all.
Anyway.
So if you joined us last week, you kind of know Em and I are friends. We've been friends for a long time. We are taking a topic each week, and we are debating our top 5s of those topics. So we'll talk about everything from video games to food to singers to just the most random things you can think of. And since Em got to pick last week, I get to pick this week, and I picked books. Top 5 books. Book nerd here used to walk to the East Point Library and just hang out for the day. Like
That's
when I was a
awesome.
kid. Like that was what I would do like on a regular summer day. I'd be like, I'm gonna go to the library.
That's awesome. English major.
Yeah.
Clearly a nerd, too.
Yeah, so straight up nerds. So books, so this should be a very interesting.
It should be.
Very
Our personalities are like, we're similar, but we're different enough that I think we should have a good variety.
Well,
here.
and then
I'm
there's
excited.
there's so much. There's classical books,
Yes.
there's novels. Like for me, I don't know about you, but I left out like some amazing authors. I left Mark Twain on the cutting room floor. I left the amazing William Shakespeare. I left William Faulkner.
I didn't pull. There are some awesome picture books that I think I would have loved, but I didn't pull picture books. I sort of stuck novels. I hope that was
Yeah,
cool.
I went with novels.
All right,
too,
good.
so.
That was my assumption. I
Yeah.
guess that's what I rolled with.
All right, so if you haven't joined us for the first episode, we have a coin. It is a beautiful, awesome Harvey Dent Batman toy coin, and we're going to flip it. Since I picked last time, and I won, by the way, I won, Em gets to pick this time, so she's going to call it in the air.
All right.
Harvey Dent or Two-Face?
I'm going Harvey Dent.
Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
Harvey Dent is 2-0.
He is 2-0.
So that might be a determining. I mean, like this could
Might
be
be.
this could be thick. So M1, that means I have to go first.
Book 5.
Book 5. Read it as a kid. I read all these books as a kid. Let's just start off with
Okay.
that. Okay. Read this as a kid. Just loved it. I wanted to be at one point in my life. I wanted to be a veterinarian, and this book just kind of was like, I don't know why, because it's very not animal, whatever. It's a little sad. One of the greatest authors of all time, Jack London, White Fang.
Oh, White Fang. That's a good one.
Loved this
That
book
is
as
a
a
good
kid. Loved this book as a kid. It just like I read Call of the Wild. Call of the Wild is great too, by the way.
That is good.
But White
Absolutely.
Fang just stuck with me. You know, when I think of my favorite books, White Fang is just like it's always right there at the top of the list. And sometimes I don't even realize like I'm thinking about it. I'll be like, oh my god, White Fang is such a great. They made a movie.
Sneaks up on
Don't
you.
go see the movie. It's not that good, which happens with
That's
most
with
books.
books all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, always read the book first.
There are some that come
then see the
close
movie.
to being as good as the book.
And that's okay, but you gotta read the book first.
Yeah, gotta read the book first.
I don't know. It's just a personal opinion, I
That's
guess.
no. It's. I think that's just
Just
a
the
just a
rule.
fact. Yeah, you got to read the book first.
I'm good with that.
All right,
My 5?
number 5.
Number
Let's
5. My number 5 is The Giver.
see. The Giver.
Mm-hmm. The Giver is it was my first utopian society book.
I see.
Read it as a probably junior high-ish.
Okay.
It's about utopian society. They have one selected, and you don't find out obviously. I don't want to ruin it for you guys.
Okay.
It's really good.
I've
Utopian
not read
society
it,
book.
so
It's awesome.
is it a kid's book or is it
It's a kid's book, upper elementary, junior high. Great book. Kind of keeps it secret. The whole thing secret and doles you out information throughout the book. I don't want to ruin it. It's an awesome book. Read it, The Giver.
I'm gonna Wikipedia it later.
Yeah, for sure.
I think
It's
you
a good
should
one.
too. The Giver.
Yeah.
Who wrote The Giver?
You had to ask me that, right? I have no idea. I used to know. But yeah, it's a good book.
All right. Number 4. One of my favorite authors of all time. Love his books. Love this book. This book has been made into some movies, and it's been awesome. And the movies are sometimes not that great, but the book is awesome. One of the greatest literary characters of all time is in this book, if you know what I mean. And, hello, bonus, Muppets did it. Treasure Island, baby.
Treasure
Robert
Island.
Louis Stevenson.
Absolutely.
Treasure Island, if you have not read this book, or if you have a kid who is under the age, who is between the ages of 10 and 15, please make him read this book so that he's not an idiot when he grows up. Thank you.
Good book.
Treasure Island.
That's a good pick.
Robert Louis Stevenson. Boom.
I like
Boom.
it.
Blackbeard. Rock in the High Seas. Treasure Island.
Very good. I like that one. So far, those are...
Classics, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
I roll hard with the classics.
Good. All right, my next one is Anne Rice novel. Interview with the Vampire. I know.
The Vampire.
Not your favorite. I know, but you know what I love about her vampire novels? Only gotta go there, right? Because we all know other vampire novels that we won't get into.
She's talking about Twilight.
Shh! I would never call anybody out like that. That's terrible, right?
Totally.
Her books woven with history, just amazing. She's an amazing writer. Does her research, and it's just a well-rounded book. It's not just a vampire book. It's just an awesome novel, great story.
And I think I've not read the book. I've seen the movie. Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt. It
doesn't do it justice.
But that's actually a good movie.
It is a good movie.
It is a good movie. The ending is good. I think it's got a solid. Even though Kirsten Dunst is in it, she's not my favorite. Actually, she's not even close to being one of my favorites. She's actually pretty good in it. I thought it was just overall it was a really good book, and it's just good movie because, like I said, I have not read the book.
Right.
I will also Wikipedia this later just so that I can understand the differences. I'll read one of those plot things where it says the difference between the book and the movie.
Your Cliff Notes, yeah.
Cliff Notes. There you go. Mm-hmm. All right.
You're good.
Number three. Number three is written by my favorite author of all time.
All right.
All-time favorite author.
I think I know who this is.
I
don't know, but I know your author is, right?
I would hope you know who my author. Who do you think my author is?
I don't want to say it now if I'm wrong. Show me the book and then I'll tell you if I was right.
I have two favorite authors. I have modern favorite author. I have classic favorite author.
Okay, I'm thinking modern.
Okay, so you probably know what that book is probably in here.
Okay.
Okay. But my favorite author of all time, classical version, just amazing book. I can't say enough about it. It's a little long, but again, one of the greatest.
Good payout?
It's a good payout. It's just a great book. It's just a great story. It's Great Expectations.
Yeah.
Charles Dickens. Amazing author. And I don't even like Christmas, and Charles Dickens is my favorite author. And what is Charles Dickens known most for? Christmas Carol.
You got it.
Charles Dickens is the man. If you don't know who Charles Dickens... don't talk about it.
Just don't even go there.
Just turn it off, because I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Not worth it.
Great Expectations.
That's a good one.
One of the greatest novels I've ever written. One of the greatest authors of all time. Great Expectations. And can I just say, if you read this book...
Can I say that I can't believe Charles Dickens is third on your list?
You'll understand later. If you do read this book, I can say that the Great Expectations, that's not a letdown. It's actually pretty fantastic. Your expectations will be met. Greatly. All right.
Awesome.
Number 3.
My number 3 is one of my favorite authors.
I don't know who that is, by the way. Because...
It's all good.
It's
cool.
He's
one of my. He's my favorite modern author, I would say. I read pretty much everything he's ever done. This is probably one of my favorites that he's written. Stephen King's The Stand.
Stephen King's The Stand. I have read part of that book.
Love it.
I was not able to finish it.
It's long. It's very long.
It also was a little creepy.
It's Stephen King.
Yeah. I'm not a big Stephen King fan.
It's cool.
And I've read a few of his books. I've read part of The Stand. When I read a book, have you ever watched Friends?
Yeah.
And in Friends, Joey, whenever he would read a book that was scary or sad or whatever, he'd put it in the freezer.
Sure.
That's actually, I would put it down in the basement behind the washing machine. Like, if the book was, like, freaking me out, like, to this day, I think I still sometimes kind of do that. Tuck my nook in underneath the washing machine. It's weird. That's a good book. That is a good book. That is a quality. I think a lot of people would put that number one. Honestly, I think.
And you know what? And I had trouble. My last 3 books, I had a lot of trouble mixing around. I mean, I love The Stand. I love Stephen King. I really wanted him to put number 1, but there were 2 more that I just really felt like they deserved it.
I think like top 3, like could have easily, for me at least, gone anyway, and I would have been totally satisfied with these 2. I mean, they deserved it. They're perfect where they're at. The top 3, they could have just gone anyway.
It was tough. I agree.
All right.
We're getting close.
So we're getting close. So now you just said that you think you know who my favorite author of all time is.
Right.
And so I'm just curious who you think that is.
I think it's Michael Crichton.
Michael Crichton.
Am I right?
Jurassic Park, baby. I'm a dino nut. I read the book. I've seen... that's my phone. I have seen the movie like 100,000 times. I've read the book about 100,000 times. It's a great book. If you loved the movie, the book is just as amazing. Again, a tough read.
I honestly have never cracked that book.
One of the things that I love about
and I've seen the movie Michael like a million times.
One of the things I love about Michael Crichton is like he's so scientific, and like he's got such like he goes into like the numbers and the theories and stuff. And so like reading the book, and even in the movie, but when you read the book, you're like, yeah, that could happen. You're like, that makes sense. I don't know what all those numbers mean.
But mosquitoes and
But that algorithm seems like it would work, because that's really complicated. And you believe it. And there's a scene in the book that's not in the movie that takes place on a lagoon.
Okay.
That's just awesome. Just absolutely awesome. It's a great book. A lot of characters that get like lost in the shuffle or die have really cool parts in the book. It's a great book. I've read it a bunch of times. The Lost World was the sequel to that book. Right. Also a really good book. Right. Not as good of a movie, but a great book. My favorite author of all time, Charles Dickens, Michael Crichton. I've read all of his books, and he was an amazing man. ER. Yeah. Created ER. Michael Crichton, just, there will be none that are as awesome as he is, because like he was just the best. So, Jurassic Park, number 2.
Very good. I'm good with that pick, too. Never read it, but...
I feel like, yeah.
I feel like I have some work to do now, right?
Yeah,
like,
I feel like...
I have some goals, but I gotta read.
Yep.
All right, my number 2. My number 2 is actually, it's a great book. Sad. It's a Holocaust book.
Okay.
Night. Ever read Night? Night by Eli Wiesel?
I have not read Night by
Night is very short. You could probably get through it in evening. I don't want to say night. That's terrible, right? But it's about about the Holocaust in Germany, Jewish concentration camp, about him arriving and his experiences there. Again, don't want to ruin the book for you.
So is it a true story?
It is.
It's like somebody's actual life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why would you pick that over like Anne Frank? I mean, just asking because like Anne Frank is. I mean, when you think the Holocaust, like,
you know what I think. Like, I haven't read Anne Frank as an adult.
It's a tough read.
I bet. And so is Night. Night is gut-wrenching. It's, from a male perspective. I don't know. I guess with Anne Frank, you never really get to the concentration camp, though, right? Well, so this is set in,
the tough.
Page 1 is walking through the gates, so it's a rough book, but very cool. It's powerful, just powerful. I don't know what else to say on that. So it's a great book. I read it actually in college for a children's literature class. Wow. It was awesome. I really liked it.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. All right. So my number one. Probably not. I think of all of my number ones, this will probably surprise you the most of any that we ever do. Okay. Because I don't think you would think that I would pick this as my number 1 favorite book.
Well, yeah, because you're not. What I would have guessed is number 2 on your list. So
I live and breathe dinosaurs.
We'll see.
I have and yeah. So, my number 1 is the greatest story ever told. The greatest story ever told. You cannot deny this. And when I flip this little piece of paper and you see it, you're gonna be like, "Yep, that's accurate." It's a story that has spanned generations. It has been redone and reimagined in so many ways, so many great ways, some really crappy ways. There's actually a TV show that just ended that was kind of based on this book. It spawned movies, it spawned cartoon movies, it spawned so much. One of the greatest stories ever told. And it's such a beautiful book. And if you've seen any of the movies about this story, there's so many nuances of the story that you may miss out on it. When you read the book, you see just all of this great stuff. Sir Thomas Malory, Le Mort d'Arthur, The Life and Death of Arthur.
Yeah.
King Arthur, the Knights of the Round Table.
Absolutely.
God, just Guinevere, Lancelot, Merlin.
Who doesn't imagine about being a knight or a king or
right.
a
fighting dragons.
Princess. Absolutely.
Just pulling the sword from the stone. Like, just so many awesome stories have molded from that book. One of the greatest stories ever told. And all Sir Malory did was just put it down on paper. That's all he did. This was not even his story. He just told the story because it had been told down from generation to generation to generation.
Right.
So, this is literally what our caveman ancestors were talking about when they were telling stories at night to their kids. Like,
That's deep, dude.
That's deep, right? That's deep. Like, this is like the original, it's just like, this is like the first book. I mean, when you think about it, this is like the first book. Because none of the other stories that we see or in history have gone as deep. I mean, unless you get into like religion,
right?
And things like that, and the gods and the Greek mythologies and things like that, you don't get as deep as Arthur. So, number 1, Le Mort d'Arthur, great book.
Like it.
Read it. Read it.
All right, my number 1 actually is a repeat author, not a repeat book, but a repeat author from you. From you.
From me.
Yes. I think my number 1 book.
I know what it is. I know what it is. Okay. I feel like I know what it is.
Let me set it up.
I know.
All right, so my number one book I think is timeless. It's been written, it was written long ago, and
as most of my favorite authors were.
Right. But I think that the fact that it is as relevant today as it probably was when it was written is, amazing. Like how awesome is that? That your work of fiction has lasted that long and is timeless, right? That it still speaks to something socially and morally important today as it was back then.
And I think if you're gonna, honestly, number 1 story of all time, but I honestly, if you're gonna ask me, I think that the book that I'm pretty sure you're talking about is probably the number 2 story of all time. It's just a great story.
Okay. If we're on the same one?
If we're on the same wavelength, almost positively we are.
All right, I'm bringing back Charles Dickens, and I'm pulling out his classic, A Christmas Carol.
I knew it. When you said repeat author, because I know you're not going to pick anything from, and, that's awesome.
I think, it's just amazing that the moral of that story is that, the haves should share with the have-nots. And just think about everything that's going on in society now. We've come full circle. We're back to that. You know,
it's such a great story. Great characters. I think that's what defines both of our number 1s. Is the story is timeless.
Yep, I agree.
The characters have been able to. They're also timeless. They can be adapted. There's been so many, and Muppets did it. Muppets did it. All right. Muppets did it, okay? You know that your book is awesome. The Muppets did it, all right? Disney did that. Muppets did that. Disney owns the Muppets. Muppets did it.
I see the connection.
Right?
Yeah.
That's deep.
And so, it's one of his shorter works, but just classic.
It's he's got so many great novels. He's such a great author. And like I said, he's one of my favorite authors of all time. Classic-wise, the greatest author of all time. He was just amazing. Tale of Two Cities. The greatest start of the story of all time was the best of times. It was the worst times. I feel like Kelsey Grammer should be here right now just narrating the first paragraph of A Tale of Two Cities, because that would just be awesome. Can we get that? Do we have that in the budget? Check with our producer, Kyle. No, we don't have that in the budget.
No, okay.
No, we don't have a producer named
We
Kyle.
don't even have a poster that you can read top on because it's glared. It's all good.
We created the poster on our own. As you can see, we don't have a lot of a budget. So
Hey, maybe one day.
we'll get sponsors
Subway
pretty soon.
will post this one.
Subway, please give us money, Subway. I love Subway.
Eat fresh.
Eat fresh, right? You know, these are great. This is a great list. I
I'm
think this
proud
was
of
fun.
us. Yeah, I think this is a good one.
I thought this would be a little bit like I wondered where you would go with it.
I knew you were worried. You were
Yeah.
worried. I know you were. You can say it. It's all
I
good.
was worried.
He was worried.
I was worried.
Especially when I pulled out Anne Rice at 4. You
Right,
were
I
like,
thought-
oh, God.
I thought we were
Where are
going
we
down a
going?
path that we could not come back from, but you redeemed yourself with
I
the
saved
stand.
it. I saved it.
And then I think it's just fitting that like probably the two greatest stories of all time, right there at number 1 and number 1.
Yeah.
I think it's just awesome.
Pretty impressive.
That is super cool. So that is our top 5
My
books. What are your top 5 books? What do you think of our list? Who do you think had the superior list? Obviously I did. You can leave comments in our YouTube section, on our Facebook page. Comments.
Post your
and
suggestions,
post
your
your
top
stuff.
5. Vote for Ken. Vote
Vote
for
for-
Em. Vote for Em.
So yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
See you
We're
next
going to
week.
talk about another topic. Since I got to pick the topic this week, Em, I'm going to leave it up to you. What are we going to talk about next week?
Next week. It's rough, right? Next
It's
week,
rough.
I think we should do celebrity crushes.
Celebrity crushes?
Celebrity crushes.
Celebrity crushes.
Meet us here next week. We'll
See
see
you
ya.
next week.
Só deu pra comprar o pedal, a roda e um banco pra